Ladies and gentlemen, we are now going to continue with our next very special guest. Please give a very warm welcome. It's a great honor to invite back on the stage Rajeev Chandrasekhar, the Minister of State for Skill Development, Entrepreneurship, Electronics and IT for the Government of India. Please do come on up to say a few words. Thank you. Yes, so welcome back.
Thank you.
What are your thoughts on Dr. Ashwath and his sort of conversation about the fertile ground for unicorns here? And what's your sort of take on that? Tell us more.
Look, I think him and his chief minister are doing an excellent job. They have created, a tremendous amount of momentum in Karnataka in terms of building on the policies of the government of India. And he mentioned very rightly that Karnataka and Bangalore have had a long history of innovation, entrepreneurship. But to take that to the next level, to make Bangalore this almost center of gravity to this internationally known, globally recognized startup innovation ecosystem is excellent work that they've done, and more power to him. And I hope he continues to do that.
What do you think are the main roadblocks in particular for the state? What do you feel still needs to be done?
No, I think, I think we touched on this yesterday. I think the biggest challenge now is to ensure that this whole digital opportunity and the technology opportunity doesn't get concentrated in just a few cities in India. There are, 1.2 billion Indians. A large number of that, large percentage of that are youth, young Indians. This genie that has been unleashed by our Honorable Prime Minister's vision is a genie that has essentially catalyzed the young Indian everywhere. So the challenge really at a ministerial level, at a public policy level, is to be able to ensure that these opportunities at entrepreneurship, at startups are available as they are in Bangalore. They should be available in Mysore, Hubli, Dharwad, and the other cities of Karnataka, and so too in the other parts of India. So that, I think, is a very, very important thrust area for us at the Government of India. And I believe it is the same for most state governments, because this inclusion of people onto this clearly emerging, growing, expanding phenomenon of innovation and entrepreneurship is something that is, in my opinion, priority number one.
Going back to the forum, you've been here, this is your second day here as well. Do you have any sort of key highlights or takeaways that you'd like our audience to go away with, especially when it comes to the New India Inc. as well?
No, I think, and I want to thank Manoj and all of you for doing this, for bringing the IGF to Bengaluru, because it is actually very, very important, in my opinion, for this narrative of the Indian success and the growing success of the Indian startup ecosystem to be projected all across the world. And it's important that these stories that we talked about today in the morning and we engaged with is a story that's not just heard in Bengaluru or in Delhi, but it's a story that's heard across the country and across the world. Because what we are setting out to do today is, like I said yesterday, this is just the beginning of the beginning. And I genuinely believe that the next 2 to 3 years will see such a deeper, wider expansion of this innovation ecosystem in India of a type that is unprecedented, at least in the history of India. And I think this is something that most countries are going to be awestruck by. And I'm not saying that because I want to take credit for it or anybody wants to take credit for it, but it is really, truly the unleashing of the Indian potential, the great story of the Indian potential.
Really, really exciting time. And we touched on the youth yesterday as well. And I was, saying to the other minister how, with entrepreneurship and, it's a very sort of trendy thing to get into, but obviously it is a 24-hour job. Do you think people need to be more aware of what they're getting into? Obviously, there's a lot of opportunity and you want the best minds, to become startups, essentially. But tell us what your thoughts are on that.
No, look, when I was young, the big thing was to be a pilot. And, everybody thought it was the easiest thing to just get into an aeroplane and fly, till you started learning to be a pilot and you realized that you need to really go through a grind to learn how to fly. It's the same thing for entrepreneurship. I think it is good that every young Indian or most young Indians today want to be entrepreneurship. They want to not depend on somebody else to define their future, but they want to define their future themselves. That, in my opinion, is a big tectonic cultural change in the last 6 or 7 years. Having said that, of course, I think any mountain that you attempt to climb is not going to be a walk in the park. And I think people will learn these things from their own personal experiences. There is no little button that says, press here to be an entrepreneur and press here to be a unicorn and press there to be a multi-billion-dollar unicorn or whatever. I think people will learn this, and they are learning that. There are failures, there are risks, there are ups and there are downs in this journey. But the fact that despite all of that, more and more young Indians want to join this journey, experience for themselves, take that risk, experience the ups and downs of it, in my opinion, it just has to be very good.
Would you advise students to go and get experience elsewhere, to get the experience and then come back? What's your take on that?
No, what I tell when I go to universities and colleges and schools and I speak to people about entrepreneurship or they ask me about it, I say simply one thing. Entrepreneurship is built on some specific skill or passion that you develop. And so traditionally schooling in India has been, you bring the textbooks home, you read what is in the textbook or you listen to what the teacher tells you and then go give an exam and then graduate on. But to try and discover, and thanks to the new education policy, this is becoming increasingly part of the curriculum, try and discover skills and abilities that you believe you have and that you're passionate about or you can develop a passion for in addition to those textbooks and those studies. So whether it's coding on one end or it's carpentry or it's something else, automobile repair or whatever it is, it depends. Everybody finally will find a calling, some skill. And it is necessary to consciously develop that as you go through the schooling system. And that's what I tell everybody. And I think if you do that, then it's possible to develop alternate careers to just following the beaten path of higher education and finding a job.
Yeah, what has your experience been of the IGF platform in a wrap-up sentence? Very much like we did yesterday, but...
No, look, I'm truly grateful and thankful for the IGF for doing what it's doing, which is not giving me airtime. That's not the point. That's not what I'm thanking you for. I think really to pitch the India story and do so at a global level, in a global arena, on a global stage, is something that is very, very necessary and appropriate, and the timing is just right, just because this is the inflection point for growth. And at this stage, if more and more investors around the world, more and more corporates around the world see that this India story is really a durable, sustainable, and a real one, because we aim to bring in investments from the big semiconductor people, we aim to bring investments from the big electronics giants. We have ambitions that are newly discovered ambitions post-COVID. And it's very necessary as part of that to realize that ambition, that the story of India, the story of real innovation, entrepreneurship, the role of the government, the role of public policy in creating this kind of an ecosystem is real, and that the investors in New York, London, Singapore, and wherever Manoj takes the show, including Dubai, the investors here hear the story.
Very quickly before we finish, what has been your experience throughout? Have you just been to Dubai or did you do the London leg as well?
No, I did just Dubai.
Just Dubai. Yeah. So how has it compared this time? That was quite an interesting to get
Dubai versus Bangalore, you mean?
Yes.
No, look, Bangalore is home for me, so obviously I think this is a much better show than the Dubai one. But if I get a little sensible for a minute, Dubai was important in that it was showcasing to the world what India was doing. In Bangalore, it is about, in a sense, celebrating our success and talking about what we want to do more. So these are two slightly different conversations that we are having. Both are equally important, but if you want me to rank them, I'll rank Dubai 1 and Bangalore 2, in terms of importance, not quality.
Fantastic speaking with you, as always. I'm so glad we've been able to share the stage once again.
Thank you very much.
Ladies and gentlemen, let's hear it for Rajeev Chandrasekhar. Thank you so much. Thank you.